This is a part of our bundle, and so I want to welcome you all to this session on work-based learning in our series around building sustainable programs. We've talked a little bit about implementation more broadly, but today we're going to look at specific types of practices and activities, really through the lens of implementing evidence-based practices and activities. This is an area that a lot of us have programming in, and one that research shows to be important for students across grade bands. And I know a lot of you are running very successful work-based learning programs. And so I'm going to take moments through today to sort of pause and let you folks share what you're doing. But before we get into all that goodness, let's go ahead and get disclaimed. And I shall read this. So this presentation was produced under the U.S. Department of Education, contract number GS00511-5CA with Synergy Enterprises Incorporated. The views expressed herein do not necessarily represent the positions or policies of the U.S. Department of Education. No official endorsement by the U.S. Department of Education of any product, commodity, service, or enterprise mentioned herein is intended or should be inferred. And here we go. Of course, we're just always so thankful for the support of the Office of Indian Education with our director, Julian Guerrero, the discretionary group leader, Donna Sabres-Burns, the discretionary team lead, Donna Bussell, Linda Brake, who I saw was with us today. I didn't get to see if who from the team is here. Misty Farber, as well as Amanda Cassidy. So thank you again to the OIE team. And today it's going to be me. I'm going to be facilitating. And so I'm really, again, super happy to see all you folks. It's been a while since I've been able to jump in and provide virtual technical assistance. So please excuse if I'm a little clunky to start off, but once I get my engines going, I should be all good. So what are we doing today? Here are our objectives. In this session, we'll start by defining what work-based learning is. It's learning that takes place through real-world experiences, helping students connect what they're learning in the classroom to actual jobs and careers. We'll also look at key components that make up strong work-based learning programs, such as partnerships with employers, structured learning plans, and clear goals for skill development. And then at the end, we'll explore examples of evidence-based work-based learning programs and strategies that have shown success through research or real-world results, so that you can see how these approaches work in different settings and consider how they might apply in your own context. Again, we did put two tools in the chat, and you can go ahead and take a look at those. Also, we did, in the email letting you folks know about today's event, we did send a recording that provides some more in-depth information regarding how to build sustainable programs. And today we're just looking at an example of that. So before we jump into everything, again, I just wanted to give you a reminder that we always need to think with the end in mind. By going through a continuous improvement process, you're not only building programs that last, you're also building the elements of a great annual performance report, or APR. And most importantly, you have the tools, data, and intentional program design to build evidence-based, share with other communities, secure resources for sustainability, and to tell your program story to a wide range of audiences, including your own program officer and beyond. What are those things that we need to do at the end of the year or at the end of an activity? We always want to think about how we're evaluating a program or activity, we want to think about how we can tell our story to the data that we collect. And always think about, of course, your APR submission. What are you going to add to your explanation of progress sections? Are you collecting the right data to report on your project measure? Are you collecting information on your GEPR measures? And these are all really important questions you should be thinking about throughout the year. And I know many of you have maybe multiple funding sources, and you might have to do, reports at different times. But if you have a continuous improvement model, you'll be able to appropriately address all of your different funders as well as your community. So these are a few highlights from our recording on choosing activities that work for you that can with us into this session as focus areas on activities. Practices vary in their level of evidence, from emerging approaches to those that are fully evidence-based. Evidence-based interventions are supported by rigorous research, data, generational knowledge, and have been shown to be effective across multiple contexts. In contrast, promising practices often begin as locally developed solutions that demonstrate success within specific communities. And we go over all of this in the actual recording that we provided in that email. And so you may want to, maybe you didn't get a chance to listen to it, but you may want to circle back. Also, I want to encourage you, maybe you might have team meetings. You can sit down with your team and share these recordings. It's a great way to integrate professional learning into your team meetings. These are all really valuable resources that you can turn to when identifying effective activities and practices. And you can develop a system that systematically collects data and assesses your outcomes. You can identify what's working, what's not, and make the necessary adjustments and build a stronger case for the effectiveness of your approach. Evaluation not only supports continuous improvement, but also plays a key role in scaling success efforts and establishing their credibility. But for today, we're going to be looking at continuous improvement process, and we're going to be focusing on choosing activities that work for you. I'm going to focus on the model of work-based learning as a specific area of activity. We're using this example bucket of activities and practices because many of you have these types of services in your programming or have expressed interest in them. Additionally, work-based learning is a research-based way to increase relevance, rigor, and future economic mobility and access to opportunity. Work-based learning, or WBL for short, connects education with real-world experience, helping learners develop practical skills and explore career pathways. In this section, we're going to examine the importance of work-based learning and its role in preparing individuals for success in the workforce. But before I go on, that was a whole lot of me talking. I want to just check in on the chat and see how that's going. Oh, you love my glass? Thank you, Carmelita. Anthropologie, they're super cheap and they actually have some style. She likes my glasses. All right. Let's see. Anything else? Any questions? All right. We'll move on. So according to a national survey on student experiences in schools, many adolescents report feeling bored in school and crave opportunities to connect learning with the real world. Here you can see that being bored is at 75% of respondents and stressed is at nearly 80%. So students would benefit from more relevant school experiences as well as support to navigate these experiences and beyond. In a couple of slides, I'm going to kind of take a break, and I know we have some experts in this area, whether it's through career and technology activities, but I know a lot of you are connecting your students to work-based experience. So after this next slide, I'm going to take a pause and would really love to hear from you regarding your experiences in this field. Uh, in addition to feeling bored and stressed, most high school graduates also don't feel prepared for college or career decisions. As you can see, another survey of high school graduates found that only 30% of students surveyed felt prepared to navigate these next steps. So, what is work-based learning? As we can see, preparation for post-secondary is an important area of services, but what is work-based learning? That can vary from program to program, and depending on local policy, it's important to familiarize yourself with the ecosystem in your own context. And I just want to, again, take a pause right here and see if anybody wants to come on and share what work-based learning maybe looks like in your program or in your community. You can just come off of mute or raise your hand. Oh, go ahead, Allison.
Hi, this is Allison Robbins from the Blue Lake Rancheria. Work-based learning, we have several different types we classify. We have things for like 7th and 8th graders that is job shadowing, and they go to the work site and they follow the person they're following that throughout the day. They take notes. We provide them with a list of questions that they might want to ask, and we also ask them to make questions beforehand so they can write that down in a like an experience journal of what they learned about that career pathway they were shadowing. And that's mainly for our younger kids who aren't old enough to work yet. Then we have a 40-hour kind of, I'm going to go look and try and see and do kind of an opportunity, a work-based learning opportunity, where they go and they work for 40 hours, and we do provide them with a stipend for that work-based learning opportunity where they try things out. And then the next level is our internships, which are a minimum of 80 hours. We tend to try and get the students to take 120 hours on, upwards to 380 hours. We work with our local community college so they get credits, work-based experience credits in their pathway at the community college. And then we place them with an organization that we've recruited in the area. We are their employers, or we can have the organization or business be their employers, depending on the employer's ability to process payroll and cover the costs of the internship, and deal with workers' liability, compensation, insurance, and such. So we have the two options. One is a business designed internship, and the other is a design your own internship. Sometimes a student has ideas. I want to learn this and I want to learn that, and they cross multiple areas which one business could not incorporate all together. So the Blue Lake Rancheria will hire them under the blanket internship position, and then we will put them in various places for a set amount of time so they can learn those individual things they're interested in. So we're very flexible that way.
Yeah.
We, depending on the students and what year they are, so we've had some students come back and do internships more than once. They have a progressive pay scale. So we start at the state minimum wage, which is $16.50 an hour, and we go up to $18 an hour, particularly for those students that come back and then lead activities. So we've had students trained in the educational, early childhood education and family services career pathway, and they did some tutoring work last summer with our Summer Algebra Institute, tutoring younger kids in math that were having issues. And they're coming back this year for a second year in that opportunity, earning some work experience. And so they get an extra bump in pay for being a returnee or a leader in that. So I hope that gives people a little bit of
Yeah.
idea of what you can do, and what you can use your various grants funding on. Let me know if you want any more information. I'll put my contact information in the chat.
Awesome, Allison. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. I think we heard a lot of really like key points and how like robust a program can be. And considering, different interests of students and their grade level and wanting to support students to continue with this type of learning. So thanks for sharing, Allison. And I do know that Allison's organization does uh, utilize continuous improvement as sort of their regular practice. So great combo. So we did some research and we found out, what is work-based learning. And the field itself has many different definitions and understandings at various levels. You know, Perkins defines work-based learning as sustained interactions with industry or community professionals in real workplace settings to the extent practicable or simulated environments at an educational institution that foster in-depth, first-hand engagement with tasks required in each career field with an aligned to curriculum and instruction. And I think, again, Allison gave a perfect example where we could see the different pieces of that definition and what it looks like in terms of actual on-the-ground programming. That's my dog. Can you hear my dog? My dog is dreaming in the background. Okay, thank God. Um, she's sleep talking. So moving on, a definition for today's session. We got this from the Iowa Department of Education, and they define it as support for students to learn the knowledge and skills they need to succeed in the workplace and beyond. You can see that this definition is a little more broad and has less language around where work-based learning is taking place. Even if that's true in your local context, you'll want to understand how and where you will implement work-based learning in your own community or organization. And within that, there are many opportunities for community collaboration, as we've touched on before. And I think Allison, again, shared a great example connected to the university and how students can also get college credit, and they're connecting to the schools and to actual employment sites. So lots of partnerships going on for that program. So let's ground in a shared, wait, am I ahead? No, I'm right. Understanding for today's session before we do a deeper dive into work-based learning. It is a set of educational experiences that help students explore potential careers, develop essential workplace skills, and gain real-world insights into various industries. It really bridges classroom learning with practical applications, fostering informed career aspirations and readiness for the workplace. So let's go a little bit deeper into this model and this type of activity. Are there any questions? I'm going to take a pause here. Seems like a natural place before we start to dive in. Any questions? Oh, looks like there's connections being made in the chat. Awesome. Awesome. Love it. All right, so let's move forward. Again, if you have any questions along the way, go ahead and put them in the chat. Or if you want to share something, put in the chat and I'll take a pause and later a little slides ahead and then maybe ask you to come off of mute and share. So work-based learning supports a range of student outcomes that prepare them for both immediate and long-term career success. When we talk about supported student outcomes, we're looking at what young people need to be prepared for meaningful work. This includes knowing about different types of jobs, industries, and qualifications those roles required. It's also important that they understand how workplaces function, things like structure, expectations, and what helps someone succeed or move up. Students should have a clear sense of what kind of work fits their interests and strengths, which helps them make informed choices. Along the way, they probably need to build both technical skills like welding or computer use, as well as soft skills such as communication and problem solving. Finally, they should leave with practical tools like a resume or certification. Again, harkening back to Allison's program and what she shared, it sounds like they built in, and correct me if I'm wrong, Allison, like a pipeline for the younger students to learn these skills in order to prepare them for, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, what we've done is we've started clubs at the middle school level. And
Mhm.
so here's an example, Drone Legends and Robotics Club. And the kids can go in there and they can learn how to fly drones and put robotics things together and manipulate things and do design solutions. And while they're doing that, they talk about what careers would utilize these skills to make it pertinent to, like, oh, if I learn how to fly this drone, I can go into forestry and look for trees and do this and land management. And we talk about that as well as take the kids on field trips. And then we have them build a group of questions up to prepare them for their job shadowing so that then they go, well, I was flying this drone. How do you do this? Or how do you overcome that? So they can ask pertinent questions about the
Mhm.
career field and the education and things it takes to be in that field. So
Yeah,
yes, we start early,
yeah,
grades 6, 7, and 8.
yeah. So then once they get placed into an internship, I'm guessing they have more skills and they are knowing how to feel supported in functioning within those internships. You want to not necessarily just plunk them into an internship.
We try to prepare them, and there's also a evidence-based practice we use, and also
Yeah.
for preparation. It's called reading apprenticeships. It was
Oh,
developed by West Ed, and so we've made the name nicer and call it reading villages. And we
uh,
get the kids grouped together in their career pathways that they want to explore, and we read books together about that career pathway that aren't textbooks but could be biographies or other
yeah,
informational books to get them informed about it. Like you said, we don't want to just plop them down
yeah,
and they're like, what? I know nothing about this. So we baby
yeah,
step them through this pipeline, like you're
yeah,
talking about.
yeah. Nice. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Allison. Anybody else have another program that they want to share? Maybe you're doing something similar or maybe something totally different and you have another way. Love to hear from you.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hi, my name is Akemi and I work at Muckleshoot Tribal School in Auburn, Washington as an education connector. And I just wanted to share that with our secondary students, we have after school clubs as well. And we really focus on developing those soft skills
Mm,
for our students. For example, like we have culinary club where we're cooking twice a week after school and they have to learn how to work with teammates and start
mm,
developing their communication skills, figuring out different measurements, what works, what doesn't,
mhm.
type of, trial and error.
Yeah.
They really enjoy it just because they like to see their creations and you could see how proud they are after making some of their recipes. So I think it's a really good way to bond with the kids. And yeah, a lot of them really, really like trying new things. And
Ah,
we also have like wood shop club too, where they're creating like paddles
mm-hmm.
or like cedar boxes or different types of traditional arts too. So
Awesome.
mhm.
That's great. Again, thank you. Thanks for sharing. I mean, we're providing some, content, but I think you guys will really put some meat on these bones that we're providing. So thank you again for sharing. Let's go a little bit into looking at state policies. These really can play a crucial role in expanding access to work-based learning opportunities and ensuring its integration into education systems. Currently, at least 33 states have a formal statewide definition of work-based learning, providing a clear framework for implementation. Also, there are 24 states that allow high school students to earn an academic credit for work-based learning experiences, reinforcing their value as a meaningful part of student learning. Career exploration is also emphasized at earlier stages, with at least 38 states incorporating it into middle school policies. Sometimes there are financial incentives that further support work-based learning. Again, I think Allison gave us some really good examples of that, with at least 28 states offering funding or other resources to encourage participation. I know a lot of times, as we are like really focused on working with Native youth, sometimes we sometimes we only look at maybe Native funding programs. But if you think about work-based learning, you could, as being a potential opportunity to broaden your funding sources and integrate that type of funding. You might want to check out what your states are doing, even maybe some foundations, or also some corporations who may be providing additional grant funds for work-based learning. So let's take a deeper dive into how each state approaches work-based learning. The Education Commission of the states provides a comprehensive 50-state comparison, and I think we're going to throw that link in the chat so you can take a look at that on your own. So work-based learning encompasses a range of activities. We've been hearing some of that through the sharing that has been going on, that really helps students build career awareness, develop skills, and gain real-world exposure. These experiences generally fall into 4 categories. Awareness activities that introduce students to industries, roles, and workplace concepts, often through guest speakers, career fairs, or virtual resources. I think Allison thought I shared a really, innovative approach, whether it's a club or a reading group that is looking at, or book club that is looking at a specific career, I think is really an interesting way to integrate both reading, writing, and deepening understanding of the career. Often, again, exploring involves hands-on interactive experiences like job shadowing or industry tours, allowing students to investigate their potential interests. Preparation focuses on developing job-related skills and assets, such as resume writing, interview practice, or technical training. And then finally, experience, which really provides deeper, sustained engagement with an industry or industries, often through internships, apprenticeships, or cooperative education programs. Together, all of these stages create a structured pathway for students to transition from career curiosity to the end goal being really career readiness. For schools and systems looking to build a strong work-based learning program, it's important to have key support structures in place. First, really forming clear, documented partnerships with employers is essential. These partnerships help make opportunities like job shadowing, internship, and mentorships possible. Next, the program should be structured in a way that links classroom learning with real work experience, credentials, and future career pathways. And then finally, schools should define the technical and soft skills that students are expected to develop and assess those skills regularly. This ensures that students are progressing and that the program stays aligned with both educational goals and workforce needs. When we look
Hey,
at,
Alani.
yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to pause there because I think partners is a really big piece of this. And
Yeah.
I posed a question in the chat about if Allison, if you who you work with and others too, and if you've worked with your SEA at all when developing any of this, and then how you've made those connections. Because I think sometimes that can be the trickiest part, right? Is like, how do you have that conversation? Who do you look for? So if anyone can offer any suggestions or advice on that, I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah. We can take a pause there and have people share their experience in this area. Oh, Allison's saying in the chat, she partners with LEAs and Small Business Administration. Awesome. I'm wondering if anybody who is actually partnering with, these different types of entities, and maybe even employers, maybe some things that you learned, that you didn't know going into it when it comes to that partnership. Like maybe, you've done a partnership with an employer. What were some of the things you learned that you didn't know before and that you maybe now have integrated into that partnership? Our partner, oh, nice. Anybody want to share sort of maybe something they learned in working with employers and that level of partnership? Go ahead, Allison.
Thank you. I don't want to dominate the conversation, but I did want to pop in that
Yeah.
we start with the preparation with we recruit the employers, them designing a job description. If they already have one, great, but we also want them to make sure that they know that they're students. So there's
Yeah.
going to be a learning deficit. Also, if there's anything at their organization that the student should not engage in. So we prepare, they may be a hospitality, tourism, recreation pathway industry, and they may sell tobacco or have alcohol on their premises. And we make sure that it strictly says in the job description that student may not sell these products or be involved in the distribution of those products. We make sure they understand, the safety requirements, and we really talk to the business, and so they can get, because a lot of them don't have experience dealing with teenagers, and
Yeah.
so there's like some ground rules we go over with both the business and with the student, and we have a work experience checklist that we go through to prepare the student for that specific business's workplace culture, like the uniforms they have to wear, when they have to clock in, how they have to do things, how lunch is done, all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
So I would recommend everybody have a checklist of things that they should talk about with their local businesses, like transportation, breaks, all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And like I said, prohibited activities, and making sure that they understand that the student has a work permit and can only work a certain number of hours per day and per week per their school district's work permit.
Yeah. Awesome. So it sounds like not only are you training up students, but you're also training up businesses to be able to work and accept students and have it be productive for both parties, right?
Yes,
So
and we're starting to hold annual meetings. We're working with Northern California Indian Development Council, and we're holding annual meetings on workforce development. And so we
nice.
bring all the tribes together, we bring local businesses together, nonprofits, the Redwood Coast Chamber Foundation. Last year it was at Bear River Band of Ronaldville Rancheria's facility. This year it's going to be at the Blue Lake Rancheria's facility. And we bring everybody together so they can learn as a group. We
Yeah.
recruit businesses at that point, and then we have that one-to-one with that business later.
Nice.
Allison, do
That's
you create like MOUs with them or types of contracts kind of?
Depending on what level they're taking on and what responsibility they're taking on, yes, we do. If they're going to be hiring the student, then that's a little more hands off on our part because that student becomes
Right.
their employee. But we still go over the guidelines on making sure that they know that the student must be able to do these things but can't do these things, those kinds of things. If we are going to be the employer of record and we're placing them at the business site, then that's a much more interactive relationship. I would equate it to like how the federal government has the difference between grants and then like contracts where you have,
Yep.
so when we are the employer of record, it's like that contractual relationship. So we're following up, doing site visits, checking on the student, all that kind of stuff on a routine, really regular weekly basis versus, and that's kind of labor intensive, but we do it. And then there's if they're employed by the other organization and not Blue Lake Rancheria, that's a little more hands off once we get everything up and running, because then that becomes their employee.
Awesome.
Great.
Great. Thanks again, Allison, for sharing your very robust program. And I think it gives people a good sort of insight about how the different levels of preparation and program development that you've gone through, really to support students on their path to college that maybe requires a comprehensive approach. And it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing, that begins early and continues through key milestones.
It also continues into their first year of college,
Oh,
Olani. Like
yeah.
we had a graduate from 2024 from Fortuna High School. She went away to college and I kept in contact with her, checking in on her. How are things going this semester? What are your plans? Are you thinking coming back to the area for summer? And we've rehired her as an intern this summer, and she's going to be mentoring, near peer age mentoring
Nice.
our current class of 10th, 11th, and 12th graders to give them that feedback of, oh, I should have done this, I would have done that, I'm doing this, this is how the first year of college went. So it's like that
Yeah.
continuum, like
Yeah.
you said, a pipeline.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I don't have to explain anything in this slide. I mean, you've really been talking about all the different pieces that you would need to help to guide students through, like you said, essential college entry steps. But also, I love the whole idea of having that student sort of circle back and be an educator for their up and coming peers. So awesome. Again, thanks for sharing, Allison. And so a lot of these evidence-based practices for advising are found in What Works Clearinghouse, and we can throw that link in there. We'll have that link in the chat. Here you can see that the dark blue dots there on the bottom are an S, which represents a strong level of evidence as defined by the What Works Clearinghouse. And this is What Works Clearinghouse is really a clearinghouse where it houses evidence-based strategies that you can use. And it's just a great resource to look into to help you intentionally design and deliver comprehensive integrated advising that incorporates academic and non-academic supports that empower students so that they can reach their educational goals. And so many states have developed guidance or standards to support high quality work-based learning and ensure consistency in implementation. These resources can provide frameworks, best practices, and expectations for educators, employers, and students engaging in work-based learning opportunities. Again, we have an expert with us right now, and I'm sure we have more here joining us. And so we are one of the awesome resources, because I think, and with Allison and what I've heard from many of you who are doing this type of learning is you have actually accessed the evidence-based strategies and have then taken that and adjusted it for your community. So for example, I think, again, back to Allison, talking about that reading group where she switched the name of it to make it resonate better with her community, and to have it be more aligned with the community and its values and its culture. And so I think that's a great example of how you can take these large databases of evidence-based and see how you can integrate that into your community and make it something that really resonates within your community. And so we are putting all those links in the chat. And then Allison says that they use Native Ways of Knowing book list developed by California Indian Education for All. So you might want to check that out as well. I'm just gonna pause here. We're gonna go into a little grantee highlight video, but I wanted to see if anybody else wanted to share maybe some activities that they're doing in this area of work-based learning. But we did want to sort of break you off into smaller groups so you can talk about, what guidance or standards are currently exist in your state or district or organization regarding work-based learning. And then, do you have a work-based learning program in your area? And if so, what does that look like, or maybe what you're involving? And if you don't have work-based learning, maybe you're interested, maybe talking with some of your peers about what they're doing. You can talk about these questions, or maybe you have other questions that you want to sort of ask your peers about work-based learning. You can go ahead and do that. Maybe if you're a PD program or a nature program, you might be thinking, I'm really focused around teacher education. Like, I don't know what this might have to do with me, but maybe this is a strategy that you might want to bring to your teachers that they might be able to do within their classroom or bring to their school. So you can go ahead and do that. Okay. Awesome. Welcome back. I hope you had good conversation. If you don't mind, we're just going to go through the rooms, and if somebody just wants to share a little bit about what you were discussing in your room, let's start with room 5. Jessica, Renuka, Georgia.
Yeah, so I will share. So we're all kind of in the same boat, whether that be transitioning into a new grant or a new position. And so this is a little new to some of us, but we're all willing to learn and have heard some great ideas. I guess I have a few little tidbits from what we're doing in northeastern Montana that relates to students going into the workforce. So we do have a skate club, and so our skateboarders have been learning how to create media content, have been learning how to fundraise and make their own money so that this can be a sustainable passion for them. And so that's been super great. And then we also partner with our local tribal college. So in the summertime, they'll have summer internships or STEM programs or different things offered to the students that will transport the students there or help, get students there. And they do provide stipends, and it helps them learn what they're interested in. So, but we're all wanting to learn some more about how to do this, but that was pretty much the gist.
Great. Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Let's jump up to room number 1. That's with Drew, Elizabeth, Ruth. Did you want to share what you folks talked about?
Yeah, I can go ahead and share, Alani. This is
Okay,
Drew
thanks.
Almond. So I'm based in Virginia. We're the Virginia Tribal Education Consortium. And statewide, there is specific guidance on what qualifies as a high quality work-based learning experience. And that's actually part of the public school curriculum as well, is that they need to fulfill one of those experiences. So what we've done is sort of kind of skitch off of that requirement by helping direct students into opportunities if they're native students that are tribal citizens of the tribes we represent. We'll try to find work opportunities for them, and then we can also provide a stipend as long as it's an approved experience from their school. The other folks in our group, so Ruth mentioned that they're not working with any work-based learning activities at the moment, but they've applied for an upcoming NYCP grant in North Carolina. So this has been good information. Elizabeth is at this very moment, I think, facilitating a work-based learning program. It sounded like there were students in the vicinity. And they funnel their students into one of a handful of tribal operation offices to get experience. And then Pachi mentioned that in Alaska, there's Alaska Standards for Culturally Responsive Schools. So they have about 15 internships that seem to cycle periodically, and each of those involves cultural elements that are sort of woven into the experiences.
Great. Awesome. Wow, that sounds like a really great discussion. Thanks for sharing, Drew. Okay, then let's move on to room 4 with Damon, Roxanne, Adrian. Who wants to share?
Go ahead, Roxanne.
Well, I'll go ahead. This is Edwina Butler
Okay.
Wolf, and I think I was in group 4.
Yes.
From what I gather, I'm with the Second Fox Nation of Oklahoma, and we had the STEP grant, the Oklahoma STEP grant
Mm.
project. And so we're in our 2nd year. So I see, I think we do a lot of work with, we have partnerships with the Kiowa tribe and the Absentee Shawnee that are partnership with the Sac and Fox Nation. And what I see in our perspective way is that we deal with public schools, and each tribe has a coordinator that is working with a particular public school. So in our area, we work with Cushing School and the Stroud Public School and Cushing, Prague Cushing School. So what I see is we're able to go into the school, and our coordinator is to help with what is existing programs that they have for Native American students. And what I've seen in this area is that a lot of these schools, don't know how to the rules of like Title VI programs with Indian Ed programs. And I see that we're starting from ground up with that, with the public schools, and educating them on what they're supposed to be doing with the Every Student Succeeds Act that comes in. And so we're very big around here in that area with that, of having the schools be more familiarized what they were supposed to be doing for Native American students. And once we get that in, of just establishing their Indian Parent Committee. So, and then it goes into the students. So we're working a lot with my coordinator here with the Sac and Fox Nation has developed resources for all of students that are Native American to gain resources from their tribes. And she went in did a Q code. And so these, when we go to college fairs and stuff, these students from all over, that not on just those 3 schools we work with, but they're able to access what their own tribe is, their resources are. So I feel like we're gaining with this STEP program, we're gaining each year of getting the students to be more familiarized of what careers they want to get into. Of course, we want to see these students gain that education field, or even to become tribal leaders, to know more about their tribes and where they come from, and the cultural and the language. And so we're trying to educate those students, because most of the students really don't know. You ask them, are you what tribe you are, and then they'll say, I don't know. So we're really hitting target on those students that are in the school system, and the schools are willing to work with us. And so we're gaining that trust and that strong partnership with them of developing their communication with their parents, their Native American parents in those schools. So, and each tribe that is a partner with us, I feel that we're gaining that in those areas too, in the Kiowa area and the absentee Shawnee area. I was a educator in the public school for 15 years, coached girls sports, and then became a tribal leader. And then now I'm back and hope to retire from the tribal education department here at Second Fox Nation. So I've had it in all three areas, and it's still the same scenario of what we're facing with public schools and
Yeah.
with the Native American students. So I feel like we're gaining some leeway here and educating the schools. So
Wow. Great. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Sound
Mhm.
like you have a whole bunch of things going on.
yes, we do.
Good
We
work.
do.
Good work. Good work. Okay, then moving on to room 3, that was Akemi, Allison, Carmelita. If anybody wants to share from that room. I know there was good conversation going on.
There was some great conversation going on. I don't know if Carmelita, if you want to continue what you were saying in the breakout room.
Okay, so you know, in thinking about how we do this work-based, you know, experiences for students, I've not really been involved with K-12 students
Yeah.
other than when I was a teacher.
Mhm.
But one thing that I was able to share that is unique to the state of North Dakota and some of the tribal scholars or native scholars that I've worked with over the years is their opportunity to get their foot in the door, if you will, for a lack of a better term,
Yeah.
with a work-based experience is kind of limiting in that the state and some of the accrediting agencies for counseling and social work don't allow those internships to be paid.
Yeah.
And so then for graduate students here, let me see here, I'm not being very kind here. Okay, here I am. I'm a wild thing today. But anyway, but for graduate students who are working on their advanced degree for an administration position, you know,
Mhm.
K-12 or special ed or counseling, social work, they are required to do an internship for 200, 300. In counseling, it's 600 hours.
Wow.
So that's a huge barrier for those participants because they are adult learners.
Yeah.
They have families. And so, in my experience in writing funding opportunities for those types of programming, as I was mentioning to Allison and the folks in the room, it's almost mandatory that you write in some type of stipend, some type of support for that individual. Otherwise, you're setting them up for a real disadvantage with regard to how they complete the degree, you know?
Right.
We're giving them everything for that degree to go into K-12 to really do the great service that needs to be done and have that workplace experience so that when they go on their own as a counselor and
Right.
principal, they're ready, but they can't afford to not take care of their family.
Yeah.
So for me, that has always been the challenge, and I've written in for support for those participants, but again, it's not like their full-time salary. So we always have to really educate them when they sign the agreement to come into the program. This is going to be a tough semester. And
Yeah.
so, or 2. And so we need to plan for it. Can you take out financial aid on top of it's a whole
Yeah.
thing, you know, but
Yeah.
that's way more complex. I would love to work with high school students because it seems like the challenges would be a little bit less. They don't
Yeah.
have so many adult things to worry
Yeah.
about. So I guess I shared that.
Yeah. No, that's great. just different set of challenges, right? I mean, I'm sure they don't have to pay a mortgage, and that's probably, and make sure that children are taken care of. Awesome. Well, great. Again, I got to peek in and be nosy into some of those conversations, and I really appreciate you folks sharing. We're gonna take a pause. I think we were able to get, I saw Ensign had posted the link for the actual video. So we're gonna take a pause and actually, let me see if I can get this up and going. There we go. Skip.
Oh, Lonnie, I don't hear it now. I don't know why.
Hi.
I heard the commercial, but now I can't hear the.
Oh gosh, let's see. I'm just checking my audio.
Did you shared your audio when you shared your screen?
Yeah.
It wasn't just me, right? Was everyone
Not
not
getting
hearing it?
I heard something.
Okay, let me try again. Let me
Yeah,
know.
try again.
My name is Hannibal Anderson. I'm the superintendent of the Lower Yukon School District. We're located primarily on the Yukon River. Our 10 schools are steeped in Yupik values, language, and tradition. While we are geographically isolated, we are a school district that wants the best education for our students. In LYSD, less than 2% of our students read with proficiency. While literacy is a major concern, also of concern is the lack of access to CTE and future career opportunities for our students.
Hello, I'm Dr. Dina Bishop, the superintendent of Anchorage School District. Now is the time to scale up, not scale down. It is time to develop tomorrow's workforce today. We can do this through partnerships among Alaska's school districts. A career and technical partnership with ASD provides LYSD, the Lower Yukon, the ability to access a state-of-the-art CTE facility. Anchorage's King Tech High School has high quality, highly trained personnel to deliver the CTE content and industry experiences.
We want LYSD students to be prepared for post-high school learning and careers. We want a higher graduation rate. Currently, LYSD graduation rate is about 60%.
ASD students who complete 2 or more credits of CTE have a graduation rate of 94%, a rate that is 13% higher than its overall district graduation rate. CTE experiences add to our success.
Using a personalized learning model, the ASD LYSD partnership allows students to seamlessly enter ASD and return to LYSD in 9-week increments.
Anchorage School District has agreed to design a late afternoon session of CTE courses so students in both LYSD and ASD can receive a full credit of CTE in a 9-week period. We will design courses when possible that can provide certifications with next steps to career pathway courses, job shadowing, or an apprenticeship opportunity.
Often I am asked, why don't we build a CTE center in our region? There was a time we thought that was actually a good idea and worth exploring. The cost itself is prohibitive, not to mention that it is not realistic to believe we could attract the industry expertise to commit to staffing the programs. In November, our school board voted unanimously to use CIP money to purchase the Longhouse Hotel in Anchorage. The cost of $2.75 million and the partnership with ASD will result in saving the state of Alaska $95 million in capital construction costs. Our approach is different. Through organizational innovation and economic responsibility, we can provide greater advantages for our students. LYSD students will have educational experiences that far surpass anything that exists in rural Alaska. The new model will also move our district to a greater focus on personalized student learning. This will help us cover the content of state-required courses necessary for high school graduation.
We are inspired by this partnership. We believe the time is now to build opportunities for students. The time is now to be a part of a vision that includes rural Alaskans as an essential human resource in Alaska's workforce development plan. The plan offers a model that can be replicated in Mat-Su, Fairbanks, and possibly Kenai and Juneau. We believe this model can also be expanded with other districts. This partnership is worth the investment in Alaska's future.
So we're at that point of the TA that we're going to sort of start to wrap things up. Again, looking back at the objectives we had set for this session, we wanted to make sure that we were exploring what work-based learning is and how it helps students make real-world connections between their education and future careers. We looked at the essential components of a work-based learning program. And again, we were blessed to hear from actual programs that are doing this and get to know some of the intricacies and the depth in which you can go as it relates to work-based learning. We also reviewed examples of evidence-based work learning to show how these strategies can be successfully implemented and adapted. And we got to have some really great conversations in small groups. So I really want to thank you for that, and hope that as you move forward, consider how these ideas can support your own efforts to create meaningful and effective learning opportunities for students. We're going to go ahead and put up an end of the event poll. Of course, we would love to hear your thoughts about how this content maybe benefited you or maybe didn't, and ways in which we can improve. Again, just want to, if you, it is now, what is this? This is June. And so you might want to be reaching out to your program officers regarding any questions you have, maybe wrapping up your grant year or in preparation for the new school year coming up in August. Here's the contact information for them. Of course, you can always reach out to your OIE technical assistance team. If you want to schedule some individual coaching, you can go ahead and do that. I want to thank everybody for participating. It was great to see you folks. It's been a while since we've done this. I hope I wasn't too clunky. And again, just thank you all for all of your hard work and effort. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you later. Take care. Aloha.
Hey, Alani, you want to quickly just the talking circles that we have coming up?
Yeah. Yeah,
I can say them because I just pulled up my calendar. So we have on this Thursday, the 12th, we have NALRC and NALED Ed at 12:30 Eastern. And then we have NYCP at 2:30 Eastern. Next Tuesday, so they changed the dates for NACCE, the NACCE meeting. We are moving next Tuesday's June 17th to the following Tuesday, June 24th. So we'll be sending calendar invites out for that. And those will be for, who do we have on that day? Sorry, let me just check. NATRE and PD at 12:30 Eastern, and then we'll have STEP and ACE grantees at 2:30. So just look out for that. We're going to be sending an updated calendar invite for the 17th, but we are keeping the dates for this Thursday for NALRC, NALED Ed, and NYCP.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Chelsea,
Yep.
for sharing that. All right,
Thank
have
you.
a wonderful rest of your day. Take care. Bye. Nice
Bye, everybody.
seeing you.